Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? I'm joined with a very, very special guest who's very famous in the Arab world and who's also getting involved in things in the English world. It's Brother Hazem. How are you doing?
I'm good, akhi.
MashaAllah, Brother Hazem is a Muslim filmmaker and YouTuber, podcaster, very, very well respected in the Arab world. What we're going to be doing today is me and you, we're both from Egypt, from the Arab world, and we're both Muslim people, and we're both reacting to this situation in Palestine.
Yep.
And we're both very affected by it. But I saw something of Joe Rogan. You know who Joe Rogan is?
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I saw something which made me respect him a little bit more.
Okay.
And I wanted to show it to you, and then we can react to it together.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So if you're a Palestinian and you live in Gaza, you're just stuck.
You're stuck forever. And that's why these people are, like, people from America, they're like, why, that's why you have this mantra, like, oh, they want to die. They raise their kids to be suicide bombers. No, when you're in Gaza, you are born dead. You don't have a life. So that's why these people are giving up their lives to send a message to us. That's why they're doing this. That's the only reason they're doing this, is to send a message to us. Help us. That's all they can do, is use their bodies.
It's just terrifying to me. Forget
sad.
about whether it's Israel or Palestine. Forget about what it is. The idea that people could be stuck, born stuck in this spot and really have no recourse and nowhere to go, and just be thought of by people that live just a few miles away from you, that you're subhuman. And that the fact that someone can make that T-shirt with 1 bullet, 2 kills, and show a pregnant woman with crosshairs on her belly, that scares the shit out of me.
So what do you think of that?
I don't know, man. I'm used to asking questions. So, like, what happened to you, for example, on Piers Morgan and stuff, and you talking about Ben Shapiro, and you've talked to Jordan Peterson and stuff. Yeah. So, I think the issue is we get caught up on what these people say, and we're almost kind of looking for them to give us kind of approval or
Yeah.
So I know what he says is kind of like it does make sense.
Yeah.
But it's kind of sugar coated a little bit. It's, like Ben Shapiro is like, okay, we listen to him. It makes sense when he talks about LGBT and all that stuff. It's like, okay, this guy says what I want to say. Yeah. But at the same time, he's like, kill these. We have to kill as much and stuff. So I'm trying to figure out what the balance should be of listening to these people. Like, for example, Jordan Peterson. I was with a good friend of mine, and he started listening to him and the series that he makes about the Bible, the biblical stuff, and he's now a Christian because of him, right? So I don't know, it's I'm not waiting for this kind of approval. Although I am happy that I'm happy for him, but it doesn't affect me. Like it shouldn't even make me happy.
Do you know one thing is there's a famous saying, I don't know who said it, but it's a very famous saying. It says that if you want to know who rules over you, look at who you can't criticize. And we've seen a lot of people in the right wing. We've seen, obviously, Ben Shapiro's invested. Jordan Peterson, you mentioned, who's recently just been coming out and attacking the cause and calling effectively Netanyahu to give them hell or whatever it is, which entails the killing of civilians effectively. And we've seen other people, even Piers Morgan, who have been in the show, have a very strong bias towards Palestine, against Palestine and for Israel. We've seen these kinds of things, and in the context of all that, this sounds much, much, much better. Like, for example, he mentioned subhuman.
Right.
So he is alluding to the fact that there's dehumanization going on in Israel. He is alluding to the fact that what's going there is not favorable conditions. He isn't taking a strong pro-Israeli stance, which, in my view, is so much better than his compatriots. However, as you mentioned, it is sugar-coated a bit, and I agree fully with your sentiment. It's an excellent point. But it shows us who's controlled and who's not. And this is not just for the Muslim community.
Right.
But it's people have seen, even with Piers Morgan and Jordan Peterson, I've been analysing their comment sections. I've been analysing everything. And what I found is that it seems to me that it's not just within the Muslim community. People outside of the Muslim community are now considered them to be hypocrites and people that are effectively being paid to say what they're saying. And that is so dishonourable for them. It's so it's the worst thing they could potentially be marred with, I think, because if you think about what they preach, truth, journalism, honesty, transparency, 12 rules, whatever it may be, speak the truth even if it's not expedient, whatever it may be, this flies in the face of all of that, doesn't it?
Right.
And so I like the idea that it's a sugarcoating, that we're not waiting for the approval. But do you think that sometimes giving these people a little bit of incentive for being brave, effectively, for saying something which they know that it's going to get them backlash with certain members of the community, is something we Muslims could do strategically?
I think so. I think, like I told you, I could be like good for him, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, when he was speaking, he's like regardless of it being like he tried to distance it from being that kind of issue, Palestinian and stuff. So again, it's not what I'm trying. It's not the same thing, right? For us, it's not even about land, right? For us, it's a religious cause. It's not just about like these are invaders or anything, right? Like so I know what you're trying to say is, and the part about him being able to say what he wants, like that's what I wanted to ask you maybe about. You come from Egypt, so you kind of think that. Well, I'm going to Canada or UK or whatever, so I can say what I want, right? But then you come here, and then during big events like the parades against the LGBT and stuff that happen here in Canada, like the very big organizations here in Canada weren't pushing for it, weren't promoting it, right? So the question of, is freedom of speech actually a thing?
That's a beautiful question, and that's something someone like Joe Rogan, who's been speaking about it for very many years, and people on the right wing, they should be answering this question, because a lot of them have been jumping on the bandwagon and saying that the waving of Palestinian flags in protests should be illegal. We're seeing people now, I've been communicating with people here in Canada and people in the UK and all over the West, saying that they're finding problems at work. And they're finding problems at work in different places because they've been noticed by their employers to be pro-Palestinian, and they're connecting that with terrorism, all kinds of things. It's the first time in history, in my life, that I've ever seen such difficulties and complications that people are facing because of activism of a pro-Palestinian kind. Right. So much so that we're considering starting some kind of a name and shame organization to see which organizations are actually attacking Muslim people or pro-Palestinian people in this way, and for us to name and shame them. And this might be an action that we take. But the point is, there is a huge hypocrisy here. The right wing, which its whole mantra is freedom of speech and expression, is effectively, large swathes of it, telling us, no, you can't do this kind of protest. Right. You can't wave that kind of flag. You should stop this. And it's unbelievable who it's coming from. But because time is of the essence, I really have enjoyed your contribution. Likewise, and what is your YouTube channel for someone who wants to check it out?
You could just type in Hazem, Hazem, الصديق.
Beautiful. And it's in English and Arabic. You've got stuff in both languages.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
I'm sure people would want to hear your insights, and you've got some fantastic interviews.
There's also a podcast called Why. Yeah, it's in Arabic. It's about myself and two other brothers. We talk about religion in a very casual manner. Alhamdulillah, it's one of the best, not best, but it's, it's kind of big in the Middle East.
Sure. Perfect. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Akhi, for the opportunity.
Anytime. And make sure, guys, that you subscribe to his channel and you keep at it with the PR war, because we, in a public opinion perspective right now, are in an unprecedented place where we're pushing, and people are seeing the fake news. People are seeing this is nonsense. People are being paid to support Zionism. And the voice of the Muslims now, everyone's watching us. We collectively have a massive responsibility. Please, let's take this opportunity to spread our message and to strengthen our ranks and to be united as Muslims, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى, and come together on goodness and righteousness. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.